All right, these are the directions for step 2 of the tie-dye drawstring bag. What we've done so far is we have straightened up our edges and we have serged all the way around, not cutting off any fabric as we have serged, so we've got nice straight edges. Now what we want to do is fold our bag in half so that we've got a bag that is approximately 12 inches by 10 inches. Again, your bag size could vary a little bit depending on the size that you're wanting to make your bag. You're wanting these edges to line up just exactly as possible. It's going to make your life a lot easier if it does that. So right here I have my fold, I have my side edges, and I have my top edge. What we want to do on one side, it doesn't matter which, just pick one, we're going to pin the whole way down the side. We are going to be stitching this whole side. We want to make sure that you're sticking your pins through both layers of the fabric and then back up to the top of the fabric. The side that you pin into is the side that you come up on. Approximately 4 pins is going to be plenty to hold this together. The idea is just so that the pins are in there well enough that it's going to hold things together for us. These edges, the top and the bottom, line up exactly. Next, we are going to come to our other side. Again, it doesn't matter which side, but this side I want to measure down 2 inches from my top edge. So if I put my little marker right there on the 2-inch mark, I want to start my first pin. So we'll just say my red pin is my starting point. I am not going to sew that 2-inch space. The rest of the way down is I am going to stitch. So I'm going to start at my red pin and I'm going to be sewing down. So I'm just going to put a couple of pins in there to help hold things in place. Now I'm ready to move to my sewing machine. Please excuse the adjustment here as I move the camera. All right, just like I just mentioned, we are going to be using a 1/2 inch seam allowance starting at our red pin. So remember, my 1/2 inch seam allowance is the same thing as saying 4/8. So if I start on this outside edge, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, that's going to be my 4/8 seam allowance. I'm going to line up the edge of my fabric right there on that line. I'm going to start sewing where that red pin is at. I'm going to sew 1 or 2 stitches, and then I'm going to back 1 stitch, 1 or 2 stitches. I'm going to keep my fabric lined up on that 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way down. When I get down to the bottom of my bag where my fold is, I'm going to back stitch just 1 or 2 little stitches. Back stitch 1 or 2, and now I can trim out and pull out all of my pins. Please make sure they get back into your pin cushion. And now I'm ready to sew the other side, the side that I first pinned. Remember, I want to sew the entire edge. Once again, I'm going to use that 4/8 of an inch seam allowance. That's the same thing as saying 1/2, but this time I'm going to start at the very top and sew all the way down. Back stitch 1 or 2 stitches when you start and when you stop. I'm going to work my way down the edge of the bag. The straighter you sew, the easier this goes. Back stitching just 1 or 2 stitches when I get to the bottom of my bag. Once again, I'm going to trim my threads and pull out my pins. I've got a 1/2 inch seam allowance going the full length on this side, and from right here to there to the fold on the bottom. Remember, I am not sewing that 2-inch opening at the top of my bag. We are now ready to move on to step 3.